Yes, greetings to you all, comrades, and once again, welcome to our usual Thursdays study group, which is Consciousness Study Group, where we do study this book, which is actually Philosophy and Ideology for Decolonization of Africa. And we are in chapter 3 of the book, and this book that was written by Kwame Nkrumah. Unlike any other book, basically, this is a philosophy, an ideology written down, then given a name, consciousness. And Nkrumah has explained a lot about it. So we are still in the process of analyzing the subtle instruments of ideology. And then we looked at philosophy, and then issues emerge, issues of morality and ethics. And for the past few days, we've been looking at ethics and morality. So we will be continuing with that conversation, where we pick it up from here. So we are going to concentrate in our reading on these highlighted paragraphs, which we usually ask members, anybody who's willing to read for us. Then we go around and share our thinking. Before that, permit me to recognize the presence of all those who have so far joined us. My name is Brother Pejino Dimengu, and we have with us Sister Ida Sawindok. We have Sister Kanita, Brother Benny, Brother Eric or Brother Guam, Brother Okech, and also we have, and Sawindok, as I've said before. I see the OO, and my name is also O. Probably we are the O's in different territories. The colonial boundaries divided us, so there's O's in Uganda probably, and I'm an O in Kenya as well. So it means that you are one people, and our purpose is to decolonize Africa, which I think is part of what you're doing today. So we will request any member who's willing to read for us the highlighted paragraph, but I will first of all allow the member to read the highlighted paragraph, then I will then read the previous paragraph and reread the highlighted paragraph so that I tie them together. Then after that, we can now go around and ask members to share, what do you think from the text? We always ask you for your thinking. And this is the process where we are learning to build up some thinking, to be either critical thinkers. So it's a process where we learn, and you're allowed to share any thinking you have. So nobody judges you on your thinking. So please feel free to do that. Any member who is willing to read for us the highlighted paragraph, please go ahead.
Okay. A few have tried to base moral laws on the nature of the human reason itself. In this way, they hope to give a final answer to the question why one should be moral. If moral laws were purely commands of the reason, to ask why one should be moral should be like asking why one should be consistent. Just as consistency is requirement of human discourse, so morality would be a requirement of human action. Yet others, eschewing a psychological or a rationalist answer, explore a sociological one, giving their account in terms of the general welfare or the general consensus. According to the utilitarians, for example, an action is right to the extent that it tends to promote the general welfare, and wrong to the extent that it tends to hinder it. Here, they regard as devoid of meaning the question why one ought to seek the general welfare. If this question is devoid of sense, so is the question why one ought to be moral. A consequence of this view is that social welfare officers should be among the most ethical of men. I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Benny. That's the text for our discussion that we want to focus on today. And I'll then tie the previous reading and this reading in my reading now, also to give Brother Benny another time to look at this text. As usual, we do share the text, just that sometimes we share it a bit late, but I hope you have the text on your WhatsApp as well to those who are in our broadcast list. So let me reread it. I'll tie it to the previous paragraph a bit so that it can give you some context. And the previous paragraph started by saying that philosophers grappling with the question of the source of moral obligation have attempted different sorts of answer. Now, many have given their answers in terms of individual psychology, in terms of the pleasure or the pain which certain causes of action entail for their perpetrators. Here, these philosophers have tried to anchor moral obligation in something in regard to which the question why would they hoped be impossible. They accordingly expected that the question why one likes pleasant things and dislikes painful ones could not be sensibly asked. If, therefore, moral obligation could be founded on pleasure and pain in such a way that morality raised expectations of pleasure and immorality raised expectations of pain, a final answer will be procured to the question why one should be moral. But this account relates to the individual welfare and not the social. Now, our text for this discussion for today now, I will read it again, the one I highlighted. That was a background. It says, a few have tried to base moral laws on the nature of the human reason itself. Now, in this way, they hoped to give a final answer to the question why one should be moral. If moral laws were purely commands of the reason, to ask why one should be moral would be like asking why one should be consistent. Just as consistency is a requirement of human discourse, so morality will be a requirement of human action. Yet others, eschewing a psychological or a rationalist answer, explores a sociological one, giving the account in terms of the general welfare or the general consensus. Now, according to utilitarians, for example, An action is right to the extent that it tends to promote the general welfare, and wrong to the extent it tends to hinder it. Here, they regard as devoid of meaning the question why one ought to seek the general welfare. If this question is devoid of sense, so is the question why one ought to be moral. A consequence of this view is that social welfare officers should be among the most ethical of men. And that's the reading. So thank you very much to Brother Ben who read for us the initial reading, and I've done the second reading. So hope members can at least be able to share what they think in regards to this text. As usual, we'll go around and ask any member who's willing to start to share what they think to feel free to come forth and share what they think. Sister Ida, will you help me chair this session a bit, just briefly?
I'll help you chair it. Oh, I see. Okay. Thought you were
Just
asking me to give my opinion, which I was thinking help.
Now, if you are ready, and I'm glad that you're ready, but I think...
No, I'm not ready.
But Sister Ida, I think, first of all, check whether there's any word we might need to have definition on, then we can go and take some members' answers as well.
Oh, okay, no problem. Some Winlock, did you find any words that you thought we should look up? Or anyone else for that matter? No?
Eschewing.
I was looking at that word thinking, others are suing. Okay. Brother Pigeon, are you taking notes? Brother Pigeon?
Yes, I'm taking note, and probably anybody who might be willing to define instantly can also come in.
Any more words? Anyone? Okay. Brother Pigeon, maybe you could put up that word for us, please.
Okay, let me do that. I think the word utilitarians could also seek some definition. Are we okay with it?
Which word? Utilitarian, did you say?
That's what I said.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Utilitarians. So, as I'm doing that, I want to highlight the meaning here, but if there's anybody who thinks that they can define the word without the Google search, we can go ahead. Are you seeing my screen, Sister Ida?
Yes, we can see it, yeah.
So eschewing is basically coming from the word eschew, which is deliberately avoid using or abstain from. So maybe if we bring it back to context, so let's see how we bring it back to context. If we bring it back to context, is yet others avoid a psychological one. So that's what you can say. Yet others avoid a psychological or a rationalist answer. So basically, it's avoiding.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's pronounced eschew as in and then shoe, like the shoe on your foot.
Eschewing.
Okay.
Thank you, Sister Kanita, for that.
Is it not eschewing?
Eschew.
Okay.
The other word was, I thought we should look at utilitarians. I know some of us might know this, but maybe for the context of those who might not be able to know this. So let's look at the definition. Now, it's so it's a philosophy coming from utilitarianism. So utilitarianism is a normative ethics, a tradition stemming from the late 18th and 19th century in English, the Johnston Mill. So those who believe, let's go ahead, it says that according to which an action or type of action is right if it tends to promote happiness or pleasure, and wrong if it tends to produce unhappiness or pain. So utilitarians probably are those who believe to utilitarianism philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, I think that's one of the definitions. Utility. Yeah.
You think
Any
there's
other?
another?
I think what they have here is fine.
Okay.
So according then to utilitarians, those who believe the action is as right as it is. I think he has gone ahead to explain now, you see. Because the sentence started by saying, according to utilitarians, then he explained what they believe in, which is basically now is that philosophy of utilitarianism.
Okay. To promote the general welfare. Okay. So who would like to start? Any hands up for starting to share? Is it that? I think that's the wrong word. What were we told we should be doing?
No,
Reasoning.
you share their thinking, Sister Ida.
Sorry?
They share their thinking, not opinions, actually.
Yeah, share. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody who'd like to start us off, please? Okay, Brother Bernie Red. So Windlock, would you like to maybe start us off, please? Oh, someone's got their hands up. Who's that? Let me see. Did someone put their hand up? I can't. Oh, all right. Brother Bernie, have you got your hand up?
Yes.
Would you like to start? Sorry.
Yeah. I always talk about this utilitarian philosophy. That's why I feel like talking. But I mean, within this context, first, I think we need to understand those who are behind this philosophy, which is Bantam and then Stuart Mill. Actually, Bantam is the origin of this philosophy, and the Mills came to somehow polish it. Bantam look at the amount of pleasure and pain. And then Mills also said that, look, it's not, you don't need to only think about the amount, which is the quantity, but then you need to also look at the quality of the, let's say, the happiness, you see, which should go together with the quantity. And even if the quality stands out as much, I mean, that is satisfactory, you see. But you see, what I sometimes when I look at this European philosophy, and you look at the way they think, you find that most times everything is defined from their culture, in the sense that it carries that individualism, and it also at the end, even though they are looking at the broader outlook from the definitions we have, yet at the end of the day, you find that it is only few that actually enjoy. And we see this in liberalism, you see, and even in our liberal democracy too, you find that only few are able to actually enjoy what is the resources to be for entire people within a country or a nation. See, So at the end of the day, I have always questioned that why do we have it that way? But then, I mean, it's throwing back to us, and that is where I like Nkrumah in the sense that he decided to look at these people, I mean, these philosophers, you see, because he understands the European and the way they are, their behavior, their attitude. You see, but then he is also trying to draw it into the African context and say that actually, should for me, this is how I look. Should we look at it that way? You see, in the sense that if we want to apply utilitarianism within the context of us, I mean, is it going to be a moral issue or is it going to be ethical? You see, and then at the end, while he talk about morality, but at the end, the sentence, the last sentence where I read, he used it as an ethics, the ethical requirements of a social worker. You see, there I wanted to understand why he jump into the ethical requirements, but not what maybe society normally talk about morality. Okay, let me end here for others to come in. Probably we will clarify.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Sister Tanita, I'm afraid it's only you and me, so let me give you the opportunity if you'd like to say what you think, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
greetings to everyone.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's I think Nkrumah does seem to take a deep dive to try to lay out how the Europeans have struggled with this issue of morality. And as was touched on with the previous speaker, put forth the pain and pleasure principle, those who have taken a psychological stance, and then those who eschew the psychological stance altogether, deliberately avoid it altogether and say, no, we're going to take a sociological approach, such as utilitarianism. And so he's chronicling, if you will, how the whites are trying to grapple with this thing of morality. And I think for me, what I'm waiting to see what Nkrumah does is where he lands in terms of the ancient African thought or African philosophical values on this issue, and whether we even use the same terminology and concepts. And it's fascinating to me because the only other person that I'm aware of, I know others have done it, I'm just saying the only other person that I'm aware of who's done a deeper dive on the European psyche is Marimba Ani in her seminal work, Urugu. And it is a African investigation into the European psyche. And it's extremely extensive work, and it's a very dense read. And so as I look at him, venturing into these waters, it reminds me of what will come later, and not too much far later, by the way. Our dear sister, Dr. Marimba Ani, one of the former presidents of the International Association of Black Psychologists, and her seminal work on the European psyche with Urugu. So here, Nkrumah seems to have done some preliminary steps in that direction. He's essentially saying, look at how they are trying to make sense and out of and arrive at some finality on this issue of morality. And then later she would come and do something much more extensive. Again, I'm sure others have as well, but those are the two that I'm aware of. So yeah, that's my take on it thus far, is that he's documenting, if you will, or critiquing how they are trying to take a few stabs, as we say in the States, take a few stabs at defining morality. Thank you.
Sister Ida, can I come in there, please?
Please, thank you.
Thank you. Sister Kanita, thank you very much for drawing our attention to Marimba Anis Yurugu. Interesting. It's a book, one of the first books I bought. I never really got around to reading it. So since you've read it, hopefully you can educate us. But what I wanted to add to what you've said is that you said that Marimbani is one of the, if you like, the Africans who have looked into the psyche of the European. And I believe you've lived in the US, so you're familiar with Dr. Cress Welsing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, who was also a Black psychologist. And I must confess that it is Dr. Cress Welsing's insight into what you might call white psychology, or the mind of the white supremacy system. That is, for me, what opened my eyes. And her book, The Cress Theory of Color Confrontation, which is also a work on psychology,
yes,
it's really what liberated me from this psychological angle, because it explained a lot of the structures that we see around us, that we just see them, but we don't really understand what they signify. And so, for example, a lot of sports, they look just like sports, but there's a meaning behind them. So every sport that you see around us, whether it is golf, so the golf ball has a meaning. The stick they use in golf itself has a meaning. The fact that it's played into a hole in the ground has a meaning. And so Cress Welsing explains all this in her book, which some of our colleagues here said they will read so that we can discuss it later. So that's it. I just wanted to say that Cress Welsing is also, Dr. Cress Welsing is also one of the Black psychologists who have looked into the psyche of white supremacy. Thank you.
Definitely. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thanks.
Wow. I never realized that about games. I mean, sometimes I watch them and I think, why do people watch sports so much? But, I think they should be playing it rather than just watching. So maybe towards the end, either of you could tell us what some of these sports things are about. But let's see who else we can get to share their views. The Winlock, would you like to unmute and tell us what you think? Or share your opinion on the text, please. Thank you. So, Winlock, are you there? No. Brother Eric? I think you were here for both readings, so would you? Thank you very much. Like to share
Yes,
your
I am
opinion.
there.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm there. Thank you. Thank you. Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
Yeah, I have been on and off. Firstly, I must apologize to the CSG. Been lots of politics over this way. We already opened our campaigns in Uganda, so we've been up and down here and there. Yeah, but I think what I can dive into is the first part as shared by Comrade Odimwingu. I think about the idea of moral laws as commands of human reason. I would think, yeah, it's human reason. Comparing it with consistency in human discourse. My thinking on these is that it is just like a natural law to me. Of course, many scholars have tried to give an account onto why moral laws should be there to justify morality over immorality. And again, I want to say it's natural for human beings to question, to question your credibility on everything that you want to bring or you want to have them agree with you about. So they will always have to weigh you by your actions, I would say, by how you've been living your life. I would say in the simplest terms possible. So if you say something is good then, and that you want to set a standard by which the society or individuals should live by, if you would, then immediately it's a natural call for your ways to be checked. Here it's written that then such people have to be the most ethical of men. I think that is the way it is, because now even looking into it, I would say I am looking at it in the most basic way, that if I must stand to talk about something, and yet that something contradicts with me, my way have been doing things, then it means that is going to beat me down. Because that is the way it is. I want to give a scenario. This is not morality or immorality, but we've had one of our presidents here in Uganda. There's one diplomat called Dr. Olara Otunu, that he campaigned, and then when the voting time came, he never voted himself. So this caused a lot of chaos in the Uganda People's Congress. How dare you? You've been a diplomat. How could you? You see, all these things. So it made him not even to live longer to be president for the next term. So his time as president of the party was short-lived due to that. So I think, to me, this first part is just a natural setup of things. Naturally, people are defensive, defense takes the first position in nature. Some people have said it is the first law in nature, self-defense. So if you talk about something, you are weighed against that very thing. Of course, this is just one way of trying to get a justification for moral laws, morality, though there's the other part of the common good, utilitarianism. I think at this point, this is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was interesting. Brother Pigeon, we seem to have lost the page. I think you're still about. Or maybe, Brother Kwame, you could load the page for us, please.
I'm doing that. Sorry, Sister, I'm doing that.
Okay, thank you. Oh, let me see who else there is. We're after another woman to give their contributions, and it's... Oh, and I see we've lost her. Oh, dear. So then it's probably my turn, which is unfortunate. Okay. I like the bit about consistency, I think. Why one should be consistent. And I think that and morality almost go hand in hand, in that you have to have a moral moral compass in which you're consistent and try not to waver. So I'm afraid I don't know that I can say a lot more. Which I mean, I'm sorry, I'm chairing because I feel that I should be able to at least say more on this. But I think morality and consistency walk side by side.
Mr. Ida,
So yes,
no,
brother.
it doesn't
Kwame.
because you are chairing, you should be able to say more. You share your
I know, but I've always found these ones a bit difficult. So
yeah, but you are just sharing.
I'm just sharing.
Yeah, so you don't
But
really
you're here now if you want to chair.
you don't have to feel that you have to be like an expert on the topic before you chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Please carry on. You are doing a good job.
Oh dear. What you're saying is you don't want to chair, huh? Okay, let me see. Who else is there?
No, I think you're doing a good job, so it's okay. You
okay. Brother Walter. I think you were here when the reading was being read. Would you like to mute and maybe share what you've got out of this reading, please? Thank you. As much or as little as you have to say, please. Thank you. Brother Walter? Brother Joseph? Were you here for the reading? Would you like to share what you think has been read?
Hello?
Hello, hi. Have you read the
Yes,
reading?
hi.
Hello.
No, I came in a bit late, so I'm just trying to catch up. Yes.
Okay. So do you want to come back at a later time? Or have you
Yes, I will come back. Though I have
anything?
a lot of concern over the administration of the group.
Oh, okay.
Hello?
Hello, sorry, your
mine is an administrative matter.
Well, we have Brother Kwame here, so he might be able to. An administrative matter on the reading.
Sorry, what's the question? Is it a question?
Brother Joseph? Okay, let me see. Brother Coco.
Yes. I am I am speaking.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I was saying I am Joseph Sadoki Otuke from Uganda. And I've been a member of these classes online. Yes, I've been following these meetings online, and I got added to the WhatsApp group of conscientism. Then I was removed abruptly because I identified myself as a capitalist. And so my concern is this how an intellectual platform is supposed to be run? That you do not tolerate divergent views? Are we going to run Africa using intolerance of divergent views? Is this an ideological platform, an intellectual platform, or is it a platform for indoctrination?
Right. Sister Ida, can I respond to that?
We are fighting dictatorship in Africa, so you must manifest that you can be democratic, you can tolerate divergent views, you can listen to the other side respectfully.
Of course.
Without having to throw someone out because he has a divergent opinion. That's what happened to me. It was not cool, and I hope that I can be accommodated and I can express my views. If you do not want me in the platform, it's okay. I'll be my Pan-African agenda.
Well, Brother Joseph,
who are willing to learn and build.
Okay, Brother Joseph, that is why I offered you the chance to say what you thought of the reading. But as you've brought up a different matter, people are always added to the group once they are come to the conscientism classes. So maybe if you continue to come, eventually you'll go back onto the group, irrespective of your views, if that's okay. So bear with us just a little bit, but I think.
I've always been coming. I've always been coming. Why I was moved was not because I'm not. I was moved because
okay.
I identified.
I see. Oh well, okay.
I was
Let me
removed because I
ask
identified
Brother.
myself as a capitalist, which was a
Well,
divergence in opinion.
Well,
Sorry,
we live in a
can I
capitalist
respond to
world,
that,
so we'll
please?
ask Brother
Can I
Kwame
respond
to
to that?
Is it
respond.
Saying that you side with the oppressor, that is not a divergent opinion. It's a contradiction of what we stand for. It's not just an opinion. It's not a neutral opinion. Joseph,
Is this an intellectual platform?
Joseph, listen to me for a moment. So our rules are very clear. If you have a view like that, bring it to this class or the Saturday class. Because the way you posted it, it cannot be dealt with within a WhatsApp group is not a forum, is not a platform for discussing very deep issues and coming to an understanding. Okay, so the WhatsApp group, that is not what it's for. What you posted went beyond. In fact, you broke two of our rules. And I don't know if Brother Pigeon has shared what I posted with you. And if Brother Pigeon hasn't, I will ask him to do that, because I have explained why you were removed. You were removed, Joseph, because you went against two of our social media rules. That is why you were removed. You were removed for personal reasons. You were not removed because you had a view that was necessarily divergent. You were removed because you broke two of our rules. That was the reason you were removed. His internet is not very, very stable. Brother Pigeon, I would advise, please, that you send Brother Joseph the write-up I sent to the WhatsApp group as to why.
That was done, Brother Kwame.
Thank you. So if he understands, why is he here arguing? I don't understand.
No, it doesn't. Brother Kwame, I think the issue here is very simple, as what you are saying. This is a class dedicated to study a specific ideology and philosophy.
Yes.
And then our arguments or discussions are within that framework.
Yes.
And as you are saying, whatever he brought was out of what the class is meant for. It's not a general WhatsApp group where maybe you call it a general group, people can say whatever they want. But our discussions are actually aligned to what we study as a class, you see? So what he did, and I shared the feedback with him, he was still insisting on his stand, and I will share other comments that he raised on so many other things, that communalism, socialism has never developed anywhere or any country in Africa that I can show is capitalism that has advanced and developed many countries, and that's where we should move. So those cross-examination of argument was not then in line with what the philosophy and ideology we study. So as you are saying, it's not that he's actually denied opportunity to share his thinking, but this is a study group that studies specific thing. We are allowed conversation within that line. But that is the feedback he sent me, that nowhere communalism, socialism has developed any country, and therefore capitalism is what has developed countries. So you see, that was away from what we discussed.
So what does he want here? So what is he doing here? If that's what he believes, why doesn't he join a WhatsApp group that believes exactly what he believes, so he can share his thinking with them? I don't understand.
Brother Kwame, can I ask you, what were the two rules he broke?
He broke the rule that says that if you have a controversial issue, we do not have on our WhatsApp. It's not a space for you to you don't bring in issues that need to be properly discussed in a meeting, because it's just a WhatsApp group. So there are, I think it's rules 6 and 7. One rule says that you do not, for us, we are studying conscientism. And so because we are studying conscientism, we had a situation in the past when one brother who was coming to the class was constantly denigrating the book and denigrating Nkrumah. If you believe that Nkrumah is nothing, that's okay. If that's what you believe, you carry on with your belief, okay, and congregate with those who believe the same. We have no problem with that.
I did not ridicule Nkrumah. I told him I'm a Nkrumahist. I don't agree with everything he said, but most of the things I agree with a lot of the things.
Brother Joseph.
That's why I identified as a Nkrumahist.
Brother Joseph. What we do is,
yes.
Brother Joseph, hold on. Since you've been removed already, what we need to do, although we didn't spell it out, is we need a different forum where you meet the coordinators, and then we have a separate discussion and then iron out things. That's a separate discussion.
Yes.
Okay, so we are happy to do that, where we send you an invite and then we have a discussion. So we are not against you coming back. You can come back, but we have to have a discussion because what you stand for is against what we stand for.
Hello.
Okay? So, Brother Pidgin, if you explain to him, we are happy to meet him and have a separate discussion on that.
Okay, I think that's in order. And I think that's in order. Sister Ida, I think because this class is not for administrative issues. And Brother Joseph is raising an administrative question from his point of view. This is a study group where people come to study. And therefore, in that line, I propose that, yes, as been advised by Brother Kwame, if he is having administrative issue, let's have a forum where we can ask administrators solve administrative issue. But for this purpose of this class is where people come to study. If he's a student to study, let him join us and study. Because the reason why we made it a basic rule for us before you join our WhatsApp group is that you must first of all study and understand what we are working on so that you can join and have conversation that actually gear towards what we are working on. But if you join the study and then move to the WhatsApp group and come again, you realize that you have a disconnect between what you understand or what we study with what you contribute. So what I would say, Sister Eda, is that yes, we, as directed by Brother Kwame, we will create a meeting with Brother Joseph to solve administrative issue as you think it is, which to us is not even administrative in another way. But for now, if he's ready to share his thinking in regards to the study that we have just shared, is free to go ahead. If he doesn't have any thinking in regards to the text, we can always skip as we do so that we go around and take other people's thinking. I think that would be advisable and great. And I'll get in touch with him after this class to ask him when is he available so that we can have the so-called administrative issue being sorted. Is that okay?
That's fine with me. Brother Joseph, I hope that's fine with you.
That is fine.
Okay.
And we'll deal with that. The rules he broke are rules 6 and 7. Contestation in the chat and denigration of consensusism. He says he's not denigrating it. Okay, that's fine. Let's meet separately and deal with that. On another note, what Brother Pidgin, what we could do if Brother Joseph really believes what he believes, and Brother Glenroy is here who has called it madness. So if Brother Joseph believes that, what he could also do is let's give him the platform on a Saturday to convince us that the system that enslaved, colonized, and is neo-colonizing us is the best system for us. Okay, he should come and make the argument in a Saturday class to all of us, so we can all listen to him and ask him questions. So
no, I think Brother Kwame, that is the better direction.
Sorry?
I think that will be a proper direction so that then he present his thinking in a class of the
university. So I'm offering two things. We can solve the administrative issues as you've explained, Brother Pidgin, where we sort out his belonging. The other one is, if you really believe what you believe, come and convince us. We are open to being convinced. So that's fine. So I hope that is sorted. Thank you. Sister Ida, you may continue. Thanks.
Thank you, Brother Joseph. Brother Pidgin will be in touch with you. Thank you. Brother Eric, you had your hand up for a long time, but you put it down. Would you like to tell us?
Okay. I had raised my hand up. I needed to respond to that, my brother. But I see it's handled for now. Let's give him a platform and I would talk to him. Brother Joseph, you need to find a stable network so that come Saturday, you can be able to talk to the membership of CSG. I think that will be something else, not this kind of session.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's fine. We thank you both. Brother Joseph, we will look forward to hearing from you. Okay, so who else hasn't had a chance? Brother Glenroy, I saw you clapping. Would you have you read the this week's passage, and would you like to make any comments on it, please? Thank you.
Not any comments on the passage, but the suggestion that there should be a meeting on Saturday. There are a number of events happening, but I will try and make an effort to
Well, it
be
might
there.
not be this Saturday. It might not be this
Okay,
Saturday,
all
but
right.
at some point.
Okay,
But have you
whenever
got?
it is,
Uh-huh.
I have no comment on the passage at the moment. I joined late.
Okay.
So I just wish to listen, but I do want to commend the suggestion that there should be a forum for people
Yeah.
to have that discussion, because it alarms me that someone could say that there could be an essential for capitalists, So perhaps there is room for that. Let's have that discussion.
Okay.
I'm not throwing anything off the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Sisai, if I may add to what Brother Glenroy has just said, so Brother Glenroy, we are happy to work with you to find a Saturday that you will definitely be available. As Sisai said, it need not be this Saturday, but we can work with you. Brother Pigeon will work with you, so we find a Saturday that you really can attend, because you've been in the struggle for a long time. And clearly, what Brother Joseph said, as you said, alarmed some of us. I don't know how old Brother Joseph is, but it was very alarming, the kind of things he was saying. So yes. And the fact that we have, Brother Eric, thank you for your comment. The fact that we have given Brother Joseph a platform should convince him that we're not against muzzling anyone. We are not against people believing what they want to believe and feeling what they want to believe. We have no problem with that. But if you want to convince us to believe what you believe, then you have to come and do a presentation for us and convince us. Brother Joseph, I think take Eric's advice. Find a stable network, because your network currently is not stable. Because if you are going to speak, then you need to have a stable network so we can hear you and you can hear us. Okay, thank you. I think, Society, I think that is it from me. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Brother Coco, maybe we can ask you what you think of the reading, please. Because I know you weren't here for the reading, but I know that you've often read it before and may have an opinion, please. Thank you.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
I think Pigbin was trying to talk to you. Pigbin was trying to say something.
Brother Pigeon, were you trying to say something?
Go ahead, but Brother Coco can go ahead first.
Okay, thank you. Brother Coco.
You are not rescuing me. I thought you rescue me, my brother.
I can, if you wish that I rescue you, I can rescue you, if you wish.
You see, I'm trying to get back on track, because I know that, we could, all of us, we could all talk, and then we would have missed the message that the book is trying to tell us.
You're right. Thank you very much, my sister.
Thank you.
And thank you all of you tonight. So like Brother Kwame, I'm here in the United Kingdom, which is a capitalist Western world. So we are happy to talk to our younger comrade there, to tell him about our experiences of life here. But that's fine. It's a discussion for another day. For tonight, what we are reading here is Dr. Nkrumah again reviewing some of the Western philosophers who are talking about moral philosophy. And we will remember that last week we reviewed another party again. I don't know if you managed to go back to last week's reading, but this is a continuation of that. And in this case, we have people like Immanuel Kant, and we still have Jeremy Bentham. We have John Stuart Mills and the others. And the two main schools of thought today are that morality is derived from reason. And some of them are utilitarians who say morality is derived from social welfare. Like what is beneficial, it brings social welfare to the society. It has to have a moral value, or is a reason for why. So morality, what we are talking about here is why morality. Why should we be moral? And what Dr. Nkrumah is doing here, he's singling all of these schools of thoughts out individually. You understand? He's picking them one by one, critiquing them, assessing them, and critiquing them. And there's a reason for that, because what he's saying here, you can reckon that he is trying to say, don't focus too much on one school of thought. Realize that there are many schools of thought, and even those schools of thought, they have their own downsides. They can have something which when you read or when you study them, you think they make sense. But when you look closely, you find that they don't make sense. For instance, at the end of the chapter here, he critiques the school of thought of welfare to say, if social welfare was the reason for morality, then you expect all social welfare officers to be moral, to be, should have moral ethics in them. But we know that's not the case. And this is just proving that he is calling that into question, to say that doesn't stand on its own. There must be something else. It can't just be reason. It can't just be social welfare. It's bigger than that. Morality is much, much bigger than that. And I won't go too long into this, because we are still going to review many other philosophers going forward, including understanding where he sets his own stall. But the clue is in the name of the book, is conscientism. So I think allow me to stop here, but just to say we are on a journey. We are looking at all of the Western philosophers, and there's a reason why he's making us study Western philosophy, because they are the ones who came to our countries and started to say they are better than us. Hence, he's trying to show to us that don't take anything for granted. Ask questions. And what I like about him, or about this class in particular, is that we learn to think again. We learn to think, which is what school actually took away from us. Most of us went to colonial schools and were just taught stuff. We had to memorize stuff and then go into classroom and vomit all of that. But that is not how we're supposed to be doing in a philosophy class. We need to think. In order to come up with an ideology which is relevant to our society. We have to think carefully, understand our own circumstances, understand our own resources, material resources, spiritual resources, human resources, everything. Look at it carefully, and then come up with an ideology that's useful for our circumstances. Thank you, my queen.
Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. I know it's a brother who is under hypercon. Can I ask you to unmute, and maybe, I think you're of the Kwame Nkrumah Institute, or I'm not sure, but.
Beside that is Brother Deki Mauli.
Yes. So
right.
Can I ask you to unmute and give your opinion on the reading, please?
No, not opinion. He's thinking.
Thinking. Yeah, I'll get it right one day.
So if the king is not ready, I would like to share my thinking.
Okay,
I can't
wonderful.
see Sister Kanita. I don't know if she's dropped
She
out.
seems to have gone.
Yeah.
Or, maybe she dropped out, but
Yeah, maybe she
I
didn't
was
like
hoping she'd come
the
back.
discussion around Joseph. So I would like to share my thinking, and this is my thinking. So if we go back, I'm not asking us to physically do that, but if we go back to chapter 1 of this book, you recall that there were two philosophical positions. There were idealism and materialism. Idealism as both answer the same question: what is our universe? What is the source of our universe?
Brother Kwame? Brother Kwame, we've lost you. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, till Brother Kwame comes back. Brother Decking, are you there? No, Brother Decking? Brother Bongina. Sorry, I'm mashing up your name. Very sorry. But would you like to share your thinking? BM. Thank you.
No, madam, thanks a lot. I just joined you now when you are in a heated debate. I was a bit late today. Let me just listen a bit. I might possibly share some of the thoughts. That will be extremely. No, I haven't heard much. I just got when you were debating harshly. I think
Okay.
hotly about some administrative matters. Yeah, but let me listen a bit.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Sister Ida,
Yes.
may I share my thinking as well?
Ah, wonderful. Thank you very much, Brother Pigeon. Please go ahead.
Okay. I think I am happy that our Sister Kanita and I think Brother Kwame and Brother Kokas also stated that actually this is Nkrumah trying to examine the Western thinking and philosophies. And what I'd like to also engage us in our thinking is, do we also see any sense in their thinking? Because we also need to be very critical to understand their thinking, so that we can be able also to be very properly grounded to counter or face their thinking. And now, Nkrumah says that I think this is a trial to define morality. And you see, in our previous reading, we were actually reading on also the element of people trying to struggle with the source of moral obligation. And you see, Nkrumah said in the previous reading that many were giving their answer in terms of individual psychology. And the individual psychology was based on what? On pressure. So what is good, because we had agreed actually what is moral is what is good. So what is good is based on whether it makes you happy or whether it gives some pain to you. But then you see, we have very crazy people that even doing what you think is evil makes them happy. There are some people who are happy bombing Palestine, bombing our brothers and killing our brothers and sisters in Congo and somewhere in Sudan. And to them, they think that is good to them. It gives them some pleasure. And therefore, they base their morality on that. So if we actually base our morality on individual psychology, then that's a flaw. It's not right. And I think that's what Nkrumah was trying to enlighten in the previous paragraph. Now here, Nkrumah is also trying to still take back the basis of moral law. And there are now people who base it on human reason itself, the nature of the human reason. So the still question is, we are still questioning the morality. But this is a very important question that I want us to engage ourselves as well. Why one should be moral? Just ask yourself, why do you think you yourself should be moral? Is it because it's what makes you happy? And when anything doesn't make you happy, you don't want to be that moral, don't want to do what's good or what's right. So why do you think you do what is right at your individual capacity? That's a very important thing that I want us to engage ourselves on. Why do you think you're doing what is right? Based on whatever reason you want to ground it on. And if you don't know why you should be moral, then sometimes that's what they say, then you not have a moral obligation or even a moral responsibility. But then Nkrumah question that if that morality was only to be based on human reasoning, as you had said, on the command of reason, then that will be the same thing is that why should you be consistent? Why should you continue doing what is right? So those are the few things I'm trying to get in the first paragraph. And in the second paragraph, they say, yes, others avoid psychological or rationalist answer to this. Yes.
Before you continue to the next paragraph, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Does any human being have a choice when it comes to morality?
Yes. Please come back. Sorry. Come up again.
Is there any human being on this planet that has no morality?
That has no morality.
Precisely.
Their morality. The issue is what informs their morality.
Yes, I'm asking, whatever informs their morality, at the end of the day, is there anyone that does not have morality?
I don't think so.
Precisely, because if you say that, if somebody says, my actions are not based on any moral laws, that in itself is morality. You see, that in itself is morality. So you are saying that when you say there are no rules, then that is a rule. The rule is that there are no rules. So you can't run, and no one can run away from the fact that whenever they act, they are acting in line with some kind of moral principle. So the way we are using morality, and I keep drawing this class's attention to how you are using morality. You're using morality as if when you say somebody is moral, it means they are good. Now, the word good itself is problematic because what is good to Pigeon may not be what is good to Eric or what is good for Eric when it comes to all kinds of things. So we shouldn't use the word good as if it is a neutral term, because it's not. It is very subjective and it's contextual as well. So I just want to add to that, Brother Pigeon, as you go on to the next paragraph.
I don't like to interrupt Brother Pigeon. I'm sorry, but I think that Brother Pigeon did sort of touch on it when he said that people's ideas of morality can be very different when he brought in different war situations. So okay. I don't know, Brother Pigeon, maybe you'd like to highlight on that a bit more before you go to your second paragraph. Sorry, if you're still there. Thank you.
Brother Tom is right to actually highlight that element, that even when you say that morality is what is right or good, even that what is good or right is also an issue, as he's trying to actually point it out. Because we don't have a universal agreement on what is good or what is right. And therefore, then that makes you that if morality is to be based on, or be defined as what is good or right, then you cannot have maybe a standalone mirror of what is actually morality looks like. Because then it will be informed by various issues, as I would say, Sister Ida, that some things that you think is wrong is right to somebody else. And I gave example, for example, some thing that you think that what's going on in Palestine is wrong can actually right to some other people. And we know people think that what's going on in Palestine or what's going on in Congo is right to them. But there are a group of us who think that is wrong. So on that basis alone, then the question is, what is the basis of these differences? Is it human reasoning, or is it based on individual psychology? And I think at this particular moment, Nkrumah is trying to say, basing on human reasoning. Then do we have a standard human reasoning? Do all human reason the same way? So those are also a few things that I'm thinking is coming up at this particular moment. And permit me just to stop it here, Sister Ida.
Yes. And Sister Ida, with your permission, let me now come in. I was sorry, my laptop went dead. That's why I was cut off. Now, can I remind us all that this journey, sorry, I've been trying to put my video on, but my Zoom is not letting me. So that's why you can't see my face. You know, I always show my face because I'm very brave. Anyway, where we are in the journey, brothers and sisters, if you remember, the journey started with philosophy in retrospect. And the question was, where have we come from philosophically? And you recall that there were two questions. What kind of universe do we have? And what is the basis of that universe? Because this is one of the fundamental questions that we need to answer if we are to get clarity on a lot of things. And the answers we got two answers. The first answer we got was that there are those who think that our universe has its basis in spirits and ideas. In other words, if you ask a question, what is the material? Maybe that's even the wrong word. What is a thing? Is the word the thing that was used to create our universe? The answer you get are two. The first one says they are spirits and ideas, and that's those who subscribe to that position are called idealists, philosophical idealists, that is. And the philosophy itself is called philosophical idealism. That's the first answer. Then there was an alternative answer, which said that the thing that is used or was used to create the universe is matter. And by matter was meant a scientific, the way science explains it, which is that it's made up of liquid, solid, gas, and if you like, fire, like the sun. So these were the two answers. And when we say matter, people sometimes, when we say philosophical materialism, sometimes people think that we mean things that you can only touch and see and so on. But remember, we all breathe air, and nobody has ever seen air. And when you use a microwave, you don't see the waves, but your food is cooked. So we believe so when we say materialism, we don't mean the physical world. We go beyond that. We include, if you like, dark matter, dark energy, and let's leave it at that. So those were the two answers. Now, notice that what Nkrumah is dealing with here is that he is bringing to your attention that there are that the philosophy that you accept, the one that you accept, and there are people amongst us who are idealists. Let's be clear about that. All of us, that's where we all started from. There's an Akan saying that if you want to speak to God, speak to the wind. Yeah. So a lot of us here were idealists. We all grew up maybe in the church and so on before we came here. So that's what it is. Now, notice that when you say that morality has its basis in reason, well, where does reason take place? When a person is reasoning, or an animal is reasoning, or even if a fly or a mosquito is reasoning, where are they reasoning? Where is the reasoning taking place? It's taking place in the head. In other words, it's taking place in your mind. Yeah, and hence ideas. So when we say that morality is based on the command of reason, what you're essentially saying is that this is the idealist position, that morality has its roots in human reason. Okay? Now, I'm not suggesting that the fact that we can reason things out means that the objective universe is in our head. I'm not saying that. Although there are those who believe that the universe doesn't exist, it's just like a dream, it's in somebody's head. That person is called, I don't know, God or whatever, and that all of us here are just in a dream. This is not reality. In fact, for those of you who read the Bible, you know Paul said something of the sort. And those of you who have read Plato will also know that Plato said that the table in this world is not the real table. The real table is in the mind of God. Yeah, the real table is spiritual, things like that. So what we are essentially saying, what Nkrumah is telling us is that, although I accept that it's there, but it's not there. So it's somebody who is very conversant that will say, this is what Nkrumah is saying, which is what I'm doing. So what Nkrumah is telling us is that, one, there are those who, they're idealists, essentially, who say that morality is rooted in the mind. Well, if my mind is that it's okay to kill people, then that is the basis of my morality, won't it? And if my mind is telling me that I should be kind to people, well, then that will be the basis of my morality. So human reason itself is not a solid basis to say that people will act in the right way. And even the right way, as Peter Pigeon has said, even to say in the right way is problematic. Because what is the right way? The Greeks buried their dead in the ground. The Indians burnt their dead. Who is right? Is it the Indians who thought that it's not good to bury people in the ground, so they're eaten by worms, etc., etc.? Or is it the Greeks, or if you like the Africans, who believe that you must bury people in the ground, and that burning them is not good? So you can see that even that in itself is problematic, and both the Greeks and the Indians will claim that they thought carefully about that and came to that reasoned conclusion, you see. And so this brings us to the point that humans, even if, look, we are in this class, but all of us here are thinking differently. Even with this, if we read the same thing and yet our thinkings are different, we might converge, around something, but people still live here disagreeing with everything we've said, but they don't say so, even though we say, be free, feel free, share your thoughts here. So, for example, if Brother Joseph has shared his thoughts here, we'll have no problem with it, because this is a philosophical space where we share thinking and we disagree. Of course, if you disagree with the text, say so. We have no problem with it. That is what this class is about. The WhatsApp group is not the class. It's just an extension, and it's for announcements and things like that. But if we want to make really solid discussions, this is where we do it. Anyway, so I was saying that Nkrumah is telling you that there are those who say that the source of morality is the brain or the mind. And that's what reason is. Then you go to the second paragraph that also argues, and this is very suspect. Notice how they've coined it. It says that the source of morality is a calculation, and that calculation looks at whether it's pleasure or pain, whatever. But the essential thing is you look at the plus and minuses, and then you go for the policy that will advance the general welfare. Now, have you all seen the subtle deception there? Which is, so what is the general welfare? Who decides the general welfare? When did we sit down? When did we all sit down and say this is our general welfare? And yet, the utilitarians wanted us to believe that their definition of general welfare and the calculation that goes into it, that somehow that is for them the basis of morality. Now, as if they are not satisfied with that, they go further to argue that if you ask the question, why should we seek the general welfare, that question is meaningless. So he's telling us that if we in a colonial society, let's go back to colonial society, ask a question, how is a colonial government running Africa in our welfare, in terms of our general welfare? They are saying that question is meaningless. There's no meaning. Now, let's come back to today. If we ask the question, how is capitalism, which is now in its new colonial form, how is it pursuing our general welfare, as we will discuss when Brother Joseph comes to share? And then the question is, well, you shouldn't even ask that question, because that question is meaningless. Is it? Is it meaningless to ask a question? What if the general welfare was decided in a smoke-filled room where only a few people sat? There were only men, and not even with the men, they were not all the generality of men. There were certain men, and say those men were captains of industry, as Adam Smith has explained in his book, The Wealth of Nations, where the owners of industry will always meet, and then they will come up with all kinds of policies against labor. Brother Glenroy is here. He can tell us. You see, and so labor had to fight, because when those decisions were being made, labor wasn't there. Now, whoever heard that when hyenas meet in a conference to discuss the next meal, that an antelope can go to that meeting? I mean, whoever saw that? Or that when lions and lionesses are meeting and they are discussing what to hunt, suddenly a cow can come there and say, okay, look, you can't hunt my child. No, like that. So the general welfare for the hyenas and the general welfare for the lions and the lionesses, when they come up with their notion of general welfare, it cannot be for the welfare of all the animals in the jungle. Okay, it can't be. So we disagree with the utilitarians that somehow it's wrong for us to ask, or that it's not meaningful. Then so the question then is, what is it that we see about what the utilitarians, Bentham, Mills, what is it that, what were they trying to do? How were they trying to successfully deceive society by using the term general welfare? And the answer is this. It turns out that this is actually a form of idealism. Because remember that the society that John Stuart Mill, and Brother Coco, you are here, you're an economist, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. The society that John Stuart Mill and Bentham were talking about were capitalist societies. But we can go beyond that and say, because it was about this country we are in, that I am here, it's a monarchy. Now, anybody who knows anything about monarchy knows that it is a society in which there is social inequality, in the sense that the person that heads the whole system is unelected, and that person inherited it. It's hereditary. There is no election, and that position cannot be debated, and that position cannot be argued in Parliament. And the Parliament and all its institutions are right now His Majesty's institutions. So it's His Majesty's Parliament, His Majesty's Customs and Unions, His Majesty's Police Force, His Majesty's. They belong to him. Yeah. So everybody else is just a subject. The point I'm making is that Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill want us to believe that if you live in such a society, that somehow there's something called a general welfare, and that general welfare is in our interest. So we should just shut up and stop asking questions devoid of meaning. That's what he's telling us. So here they regard as devoid of meaning the question why one ought to seek the general welfare. So there's more I can say about. So to summarize, I am saying that, and Nkrumah is pointing us to two things. One, that the argument that morality stems from reason is an idealist's argument. Secondly, the argument that there's something called the general welfare also is rooted in idealism. Now, that's the point I want to make. And that's why Nkrumah is questioning it the way some of us have said. She started our pause there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Brother Bongani, I see you had your hand up, or have your hand up. Please, would you like to unmute? Brother Bangani, BM?
Oh yes, thanks, Chair. Thanks. I think it's Brother Kwame who's just made an. Am I audible, by the way?
Yes, yes.
Thanks. It's Bongani Mankewe in South Africa.
Thank you.
Thanks. You really wanted me to say something, so I tried to listen quickly. Interesting subject. Thanks to the previous contributors. Of course, the very last one. I'm trying to come as well in trying to understand the conversation or the debate. Interestingly, I think there is an issue of reasoning that PJ have mentioned. I'm not going to get much on exactly what Nkrumah was. I think the latter speaker have explained much on that. But I don't have a real direct answers as well. Of course, a point of argument that I posit here. But I think I'll highlight just few things as to is morality coming from reasoning, is idealistic. But what I think are the elements. I listened to Brother Kwame about the welfare. That is very interesting. I look at a concept of morality trying to in revision from Arab philosophers that the law plays a significant role in shaping the behavior of individuals. Now, one might argue where that is originating. I think PG was mentioning something to do with the universality of that reasoning. Now, if one has to deal with the relationship between law and morality, it's very much of a complex debate because now you are dealing here with different perspectives that exist regarding how law and morality intersect. And there is no universality agreed upon answer on that. However, a particular society is supposed to have a set rules. I might be taking this from the stem, not really from the root. A particular society might have set rules and say this is how we behave. In a family setup, here, this is the Mankeu family. This is how we do things. These are our core values. This is what we respect. The jungle that Brother Kwame mentioned, possible will form part of those values. And you say, this is who we are. This is what we eat. This is how we survive. Now, in the process of such values being defined by the family, by the clan, by the nation, that share these common values, I would imagine then the offspring, it becomes a moral behavior of our values. That means you are aligned with our core values as these families, club of families, clans, and the nation. So that becomes our moral stand. Therefore, now anything against that, it will result to times one might break some of the rules that are against such core values. That's the word consequentialism. Now consequentialism, in a way, I mean, I might feel, what is it? The end justifies the means philosophy. So how then now we position that the Palestine, the Israel story that is being brought in here, you'll find the logic followed by the Israel will be, it's to do with consequentialism. Say, no, if this is against our values, therefore we have to protect our values, even if it means to do things that are ungodly. That then becomes a sort of a moral stand position where they're sitting. I'm not a fan of Israel. I'm just analyzing a philosophical situation. Now, then with you have now this the legal framework. You have the philosophical view of morality. Now, out of the core values, we are going to shape a legal framework. should you do this, therefore, are the consequences? And all that's possible is grounded from the moral perspective. The argument raised about the issue of welfare, I followed very well. Because now somewhere there you'll have things like state consequentialism, so an ethical theory that evaluates moral worth of an action based on how much it contributes to the welfare of a state. I hear Brother Nkwame talks of that they might have been deceiving in bringing in the welfare of the state, of which, but what I want to posit the most here is, with all the noise I'm trying to make, is that this, I believe, it comes from the core values that from the family setting. Yeah, I built my family, I established core values. These are things that this is black, this is white, amongst the kids. Then the kids, the family, the household belongs to a clan, to the nation. These are core values. I think in so many instances in the African continent, we struggled with core values because they got so much diluted. And then to a point now, we end up not being sure what is right, what is not right. What is black, what is white, and sort of thing. So there is a tight relationship. If one can move in a sequence, maybe I might run short, like I've said, I'm taking from the stem. So if we take a moral philosophy, then it should be then core values guided by then the legal principles. Then in the process, we are accommodative of things like consequentialism. However, then now amongst all those things, we have to look, I hear the economic part of it that Baron Kwame raised. We have to look on things like, I think Nyerere once argued that if light is to darkness, thus wealth is to poverty. I think like limitarianism and how we deal with such within the context of moral fair, because we lost these things. So I'm just bringing this, it's a complex debate for me because I just joined you, but I'm trying to bring this context of core values as opposed to determine. Therefore, core values in different regions in the world wouldn't be really universal. I don't think that can happen. If we're thinking that way, we might be more idealistic, far more than what Kwame is suggesting. So there are elements of pragmatism that needs to be brought in here. Now, sadly, then others then will decide. I think possibly Puma was coming from that angle. Will decide that well, if these are our core values to dominate the world, then we must support our core values across board, so that we push even those who live in the forestry to live like us at sea. So they must learn to swim in a forest of which that's not their space. So that's how then we're displaced in our sort of core values. As Ubuntu, for an example, in the African context, was never really developed as a real philosophical concept that will be in the space of what we have now. For example, the Western philosophical prescripts that we are having. So I might not be structured, but I'm just raising those things. I'm saying in summary is the core values. I want to believe this. That's the basis. I don't want to go to the universe and so forth. I'm just looking now at the society as I see the core values. Then from the core values, we establish rules. From the rules, then we establish the legal framework. That legal framework, it gets then betrayed in a legal fashion where consequentialism come into play, and all other things come in. How do we, who we are, and what makes us as African people? I'm arguing and I'm saying, unfortunately, Ubuntu philosophy was betrayed. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
I think there's only one other person who maybe hasn't spoken.
Yeah, Strider, hold on. I'd like to just touch on something that brother, I know we haven't got a lot of time, so I would be very brief.
Yes.
So brother Bongani, so deontology, yeah, the moral philosophy deontology is itself idealism, because it goes back to me acting without reference to the consequences, whereas consequentialism looks at. So if I act, it is the consequences that matter, hence consequentialism. And utilitarianism is a form of consequentialism. The point is that the further we do all the calculations, and the calculations all look good, does not mean that, for example, human welfare is getting better. And you know this because the calculations show that the GDP of South Africa, for instance, either is going up, is being better, there's economic growth, and yet the lives of the people is not getting better. So those GDP figures are not translating into the welfare of the people. And that is where we see that these calculations are just deceptions to deceive people. And we are not surprised because the social system is underpinned by inequality. The final point I want to make is this: the questions that we should be asking ourselves, which is what we'll go on to the next few paragraphs after Nkrumah has debunked these ones, is a question: where should our morality come from as Africans? And the answer surely must be that our morality must come from the fact that we want a united Africa. We are not totally liberated. And we're not totally liberated, and Africa hasn't developed. Therefore, our morality must have its roots in the concrete conditions of our people. Okay, the experiences of our people in their day-to-day lives, what they are suffering and what they are going through, those concrete conditions and their experiences and the state of their mind as a result of those concrete situations must be the source of our morality. Okay, our morality cannot come from some kind of reasoning, because that is suspect. It cannot come from some kind of calculation that is telling us that GDP is going up when there is no, we're not seeing it in our lives, but it has to be in the concrete conditions of our people. And that's the final point I want to make. And that's what we'll come to, that we read this, and that it has to be found in human liberation. In the liberation movement itself must be the source of our morality. I'll pause there for now.
Thank you very much indeed. Okay, Brother Decking, I think you're the last person who hasn't spoken. This is your one chance to say something if you'd like to. Otherwise, please unmute. Brother Decking? No? Okay, then I'm going to go back to the question of sport that we had earlier. And as you've spoken, Brother Kwame, let me ask Sister Carnita if she knows what you were talking about in regards to sport.
Yes, so Dr. Cress-Welsing was she used several analogies to point out to readers the ways in which the global white supremacy is ingrained into the psyche. And so sports was one of the elements that she used. So one of the examples in sports was football. And she talked about, as you'll notice in the game of football, the goalposts are what color? And she points out that they are white. And when you look at the goal post, it is a rough symbol of a bottom with two legs, if you will, in the air. And then the pig skin or the brown or the roughly phallic shaped symbol of the football is to then be kicked through those goalposts. And it's not, she would say it's not coincidence that the color of the football is brown or dark brown.
Okay, wow. Never ever thought of sports like that, but I thank you. Yeah, I see we have 2 minutes left.
Yes.
So, Brother.
Sister
Okay, Brother Kwame, you have 1 minute.
Yes, that's okay. So, Kanita, when you come back on this, distinguish between basketball that is played with the hands and the ball is brown, and the football that can be white and it's played with a leg. And basketballs are never white; they are always brown. Yeah, thank you. That's it. That's me. It's either.
Okay, okay. Well, hey, this is a totally different. I couldn't understand what you were talking about when you first started, but now, thank you, thank you. Okay, Brother Pigeon, have you got any announcements? You have.
Yes, Sister Ida. First is to thank you. I want to thank you for
Oh,
chairing
no
us.
problem. Don't worry, don't worry. So, any other announcements?
I believe Brother Kwame is also grateful for that.
Most
Just for your
certainly.
information, just for your information, Sister Ida is one of our CSG leadership, and you also have Brother Kwame. So in case there's any issues, most of the time we'll try to see how everything ran behind the scenes. So we've been keeping this moving for almost the last 3 to 4 years virtually. Brother Kwame has kept it moving for almost 10 years physically, plus these 4 years. So we do a lot sometimes behind the scene to ensure that everything runs as it is. And we appreciate the efforts of those of you who also sometimes attend these sessions. I believe it has been helpful to many of us. Just coming in, as Brother Coco had said, that we are not here to inform you, to educate you and go out there. We are here to give you a space to share what you think. And I think, as Sister Ida has also rightfully pointed out, we grow a lot. We get a lot of knowledge, and we see self-improvement in the process when you're allowed to share your thinking. And over a period of time, you can see the differences of how the quality of this move on. I was not able to share my thinking sometimes back when I joined here, but at least today I'm able to try to understand how to share thinking and how to make something constructive. So, comrades, to all of you who have been spending their time to be with us every Thursday, like Brother Coco, been here almost 2 years every week. We thank you. And to those who have also joined us in between, who have been very consistent, we really appreciate this. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for spending your data, your time, or even your money to be with us every week. What I'd like to announce is that we also make our effort to ensure that in case you miss these sessions, or even for future references or those who will come later, all our recordings are always available on our YouTube channel. Actually, the recordings for last week I've uploaded them. I'm just finalizing on their title, but they will be available from tomorrow for all the sessions we had last week. And any session we had 2 years ago, they are all available when we started this book. So feel free most of the time to visit our YouTube channel so that you can at least enjoy to listen to your own thinking. And we are. But Kwame, we might have to discuss a bit on our topic of this Saturday because we have moved so many things in between with almost 3 sessions on the indigenous system.
Yeah, it's fine. We can just continue from this week's topic, which is the AU. Sorry, today's will be Unified Governance Structure Review. So that's the topic this Saturday. It's on governance. And if you can hear me, okay. So the title is Unified Governance Structure Review.
So I think my concept of United Nations of Africa and United States might have an argument that day. So yes, I'll share this topic with you via your inbox directly, either by tomorrow morning, so that you can get prepared. And if you wish to present anything in that line, always get in touch so that you can give you opportunity to present. We always give members opportunity. And in fact, we ask you, are you willing to present on this topic? So feel free to get in touch and prepare some presentation in that line. Next Thursday, we will continue from where we stopped. And as Brother Kwame has pointed out, we are still moving on with Nkrumah's critical analyzing. And I think that's the level we are trying to attain, critical analysis. So we'll continue from where we've stopped, and then we will proceed in that order. So I don't have much to say for now, but just lastly again to thank you all and to wish you a blessed evening, morning, or even night from wherever you are. Let's meet on Saturday or Thursday if you will not be able to make it on Saturday. Bye for now.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. Night. Bye.
Thank you.